On this episode of Cuesta, we start off the show with something I don't think we ever thought we'd have to talk about. We bring up Goofy from Disney.
Don't even bring it a topic.
I'm not
Just
even
bring
going to
up
start.
Goofy.
Oh,
Just bring up
just
Goofy.
before we continue to go, we've expanded our content. We are now more of a variety show, sports-based, but a variety show. So yeah, probably should have started off with that. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
it's fine. It's fine.
Anyway,
They'll understand.
after we talk about Goofy, we then talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. David and I are fanboys for it, so that was fun. We then jump into the NFL's plan to possibly incentivize hiring minority coaches and GMs that got tabled, and also the expansion of the Rooney Rule.
Interesting topic.
We talk about more sports returning amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. NFL possibly testing new face masks with full coverings on them. And then we gush over UFC and how awesome they have been. So without any further ado, enjoy the show, everybody. What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another fun edition of Cuesta. I am Alex Cuesta. He is David Cuesta. What's up, Dave?
You need to speak like that.
I-
Is that how you're feeling right now?
I almost forgot my name for a second. So that's honestly what just happened there. I almost forgot my name. I was like saying
Good start.
I was saying the intro and everything, and then I was like, what do I say next? Oh, my name. What is that? I was staring at you, and it's like, my name's not David.
I was
He's
wondering
David.
what took you so long.
Yeah, no, that was not any sort of intentional anything at all. So yeah, Cuesta. Hi, everybody. We are back. Dave, it feels like it's forever. It didn't feel like a super long time between recordings this time, and it really wasn't. It was a literal week.
Yeah, no, I don't know why it felt long, but it just did.
Yeah, it felt really long, but I'm happy. We've been doing this pretty consistently through all the COVID stuff, which is nice.
At least trying to.
At least trying to do it through all the COVID stuff, which is it's been good. I've been doing sports opinions pretty regular.
Mm-hmm.
Colton and Doc have been pumping out their stuff when they can. They're kind of as a la carte with their shows. I have to punch Rob and Joe in the face. Playbook is still essentially going to come back. Hopefully a new show is coming up. We're not going to expose any details on that because honestly, we don't know many details on it.
We'll see. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to get the show going. Now, one thing that we did last week, we kind of went outside the realm of sports. We talked about UFOs and we had some fun with it. We were just going to do that for fun.
Yeah.
But David, we enjoyed that, right? I think we enjoyed kind of not only covering sports.
Yes, yeah, I did enjoy it heavily, especially since I got to ramble on about UFOs because it should be a big hype right now.
It should be. So we decided we're going to play around with this. We're going to expand outside the world of sports, basically weekly. We're going to become a little more, I'd say a little more of a variety show. We're still very sports-based. Our content is going to be predominantly sports, but we are going to potentially throw in 2 to 3 maybe topics on other stuff because, Dave and I, spoiler alert, we're both nerds. So we like a whole bunch of nerdy stuff and we're going to kind of bring out that atmosphere. We're still going to try and avoid the political spectrum. Everyone's trying to be a politician. Everyone's trying to do that type of stuff.
I don't want to talk about. We already talk about. No, everyone talks about that too much. I don't want to talk about that.
And and if you really want to figure out where me and David lie in the political spectrum, just listen to us talk. You'll figure it out. Like, we don't have to say anything about, if you hear our opinions on some topics, you'll get it. We're not going to come out and explicitly talk about stuff unless it's something prevalent that we want to share our opinion about. If it's an athlete talking about something like that and we're interested in it, okay, we'll throw ourselves in that realm. But I'm not going to sit there and talk about Trump and what Trump did. I'm not going to talk about, Biden. I'm not gonna, none of that stuff. I don't want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe eventually we'll do a political show and sports opinions, but until we can do it the right way, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, let's see about that.
Yeah, the right way for me would be to have 2 opposing viewpoints, not arguing, but conversing. That would be the only way I'd want to do it. So
one that's not a screaming match. That's all I want. That's all I want.
No screaming matches. Anyway, so we're going to start off. I think typically we're going to want to do it where we bring in our non-sports related stuff in the beginning. Maybe we'll mix it up every once in a while. Who knows? But I want to bring it up in the beginning because I'm pissed right away. Right away, I'm pissed, Dave. So this has been going on for a little while. I saw this, and I saw an article lately that kind of settled this. but I need to settle it. Now, I verbally berate people all the time. I've used the term idiot, moron, stupid constantly. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with calling people dumb. If you think the character from Disney and Minnie Mouse, Goofy, is a cow, you are stupid and there is no saving you. He is not a cow. I don't know where people got this concept from. You want to know where, Dave? Because his love interest is a cow. These people are speciesist. Why can't a dog love a cow in an animated world? Why do they have to love their own species? Just because Mickey and Minnie are both mice and Daisy and Donald are both ducks doesn't mean that a dog can't love a cow in Disney World land. It's terrible. He is not a cow. He is a dog or some sort of canine.
Okay, so first off, yes, he is a dog. I think if you just looked at him, you say that. I don't know where you saw this. I've only heard it from you that you've seen all this stuff. There's never seen it.
There's articles. There's YouTube. Honestly, just Google Goofy cow, and there's so many stupid idiots that are saying he's a cow.
Yeah, I don't want to. See, in some certain terms, I guess it makes sense that, certain, like the mice are pairing up, the ducks are pairing up, maybe the cows would pair up, but if you just look at Goofy, he's just not a cow. It's just that's it. He's just not a cow.
Also look at him. Just look at the character. Look at his son. His son is clearly a dog. Clearly a dog.
Yeah, exactly. So it's silly that people want to say he's a cow for whatever reason. It's just look at the character drawn and understand that's not a cow. That's not what a cow looks like. And the cow has never looked like that.
And the reason why I bring it back up and the reason why I say it's settled, because the voice actor who's been doing it since I believe it was 1986. He's been the voice of Goofy, period. Still to this day does Goofy's voice.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and he said that no, he is not a cow. He doesn't also believe that he is a typical dog in the sense that, we have at our house. He said that he is in the canine family, similar to way a wolf is a canine, but not a dog. He named it Canis Goofus, which I accept that. I accept giving it its own, as long as it's not a damn cow and it's some sort of relation to dogs, because he's a dog.
Yeah. Well, listen, he is a dog, but the reason why you can't explicitly say that the voice actor isn't specifically saying he is a dog is because you have Pluto. Pluto's a dog, doesn't do anything Goofy does. He acts like a normal dog. Goofy walks around, talks, has a really annoying laugh and scream. Yeah, exactly. So he's not acting like a dog even in that world. So it makes sense to say he might be a part of the dog species, but he's not a dog per se. But he's definitely not a cow.
It's kind of, in a way, we're definitely taking cartoons way too serious.
But 100%. 100%.
But why can't they draw a dog being a dog and then a dog not being a dog? It's a cartoon world. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying in that universe, it doesn't fit.
I want to stand by the fact that all these people are a bunch of speciesist. And they have to, species need to stick with their own species. No, they do not. You love who you love, damn it.
I just think that all these people are bored. Why would you even start thinking about Goofy and take the time to try to picture out that he's a cow instead of a dog?
I'm going to give a shout out.
He's got to be bored.
Someone who I eventually want to have on the podcast. He's my good buddy from home. I'm from Manchester, Taji Moore. He's the one that brought this up on Facebook. And when I tell you, it was like 50 comments deep of people saying, hell no, he's a dog, and others saying, no, I found this. And there was articles and Wikipedia and everything being thrown out there. When I tell you screenshots and articles being linked, this is one of the most epic things. And Taji's pretty famous. If you ever see anything from him, you're usually seeing a minimum 20 comments. For whatever reason, he gravitates to the controversy. So this is where I got it from. This is where it started. That had to be about a month and change ago. So Taji, I gave you a shout out here. And Taji said he's a cow. He's not Taji. You're wrong.
That's wrong.
But I think he changed like midway down. After we saw the arguments, I think he went back to dog.
Can't be a cow. He literally can't be. There's nothing about him that's a cow. Okay, we're going to move on from this. We're going to move on
Goofus. Canis Goofus. That's what he is. He's Canis Goofus. I accept that.
Canis.
Canis.
But we're going to move on from one animation to another.
One of the greatest of all time.
One of the greatest animated shows of all time. One of the greatest cartoons, animes, however you want to put it. I would say it's more of an anime, honestly.
It's anime. Yes, it is.
I don't know why you're saying anime, but
because that's what.
But Avatar: The Last Airbender full series is now on Netflix, which is very exciting.
Yes,
because it is so damn good. It's character development, just story, everything about it. The animation's beautiful. Any action scene is good. It is an emotional show. It hits everything almost perfectly.
Yeah.
It really shows you that an animated show, a cartoon that was generally made for kids, can be just as well written, just as well done as any live action show.
I saw, scrolling through social media, there's so many different articles, and someone posted about Avatar, and I jumped into it, and it is a cartoon that won so many awards.
Oh, yeah.
For being able to touch on adult things and things that 100%. Are, the trials and tribulations of war, what effect it has on people, the development of different relationships and how different relationships grow. There was so much organicness about the show where it wasn't kind of where even, non-cartoon shows that are about anything, you could see things that are forced. You could see certain development that's forced.
Yeah.
All the development, for the most part, and the things that went on during Avatar just seemed super organic. It seemed in character. And the funny thing is, I think, we're going to bring up a character, Prince Zuko. Easily has some of the most character development
out of any
character ever.
Yeah.
And his internal struggle, where what he goes from to what he ends as, and even in the middle, like, he has a real, very human, development. And even the main guy, Ong has his development and his trials and tribulations. There was never one character there that just experienced one thing. There isn't a one-dimensional character really in Avatar.
Exactly. Like even the Cabbage Man was not a one-dimensional character. And if you watched Avatar, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Maybe the boulder is the only one. But even not the boulder.
Maybe.
The boulder
but the whole thing is exactly. Everyone feels human. It was a show that was able to grab you. You understood what the universe was. You understood how things worked there. And they felt human. They felt like you knew what their reasoning was, their intention behind things, and you understood them.
Yep.
And it wasn't like, oh, they just did it because this. No, and they didn't just explain it all. No, it was symbolism. They showed you through different things. So it's easily one of the best animated shows of all time. I can't say enough about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And me and you watched it religiously growing up. When the new ones came on, we sat down and we took over in our parents' room their TV and just sat there and watched it.
Well, Dad would watch with us.
Dad would watch with us.
Dad would watch with us.
The best, I think the best part to me about Avatar is the payoff in the finale.
Yes.
It is rare that shows actually end properly. Game of Thrones. This payoff in the end was so perfect, where you knew you were heading towards an OP character. You knew that once there wasn't a doubt that Aang was going to achieve his avatar, fulfillment. There wasn't a doubt about that the whole time. Watching him get there was awesome. But the way he got there, and the fact that even getting there, it was still a struggle. And even when he achieved it, it was still a struggle. It's just the payoff and the final episode and the finale and everything about it. It's one of the rare shows that even though you didn't want it to end, when it did end,
it ended right.
It was over, and you're okay with it. You were okay with it being over.
It didn't try to outlast itself. I mean, you could say Korra came out, but it wasn't Aang's story anymore.
No.
So it didn't try to outlast itself. It ended right where it needed to. It told the story it wanted to tell. And you had great villains. I mean, you had Zuko, who was the beginning villain, and you always had his father looming as the Fire Nation leader.
And his uncle. who was
yeah,
one of the most influential characters for not only him, but also Aang at one point, the main protagonist.
exactly. But you always had them looming. And then you had easily one of the most evil characters in Azula.
His
She's
sister, yep.
exactly, she's insane. And you're having her come in and be such a good villain. Because honestly, she's probably the best villain out of a whole entire series.
Yeah, there's some really good ones, but yeah.
Exactly. But how good of a villain she is, how much of a threat she posed to them, even over her father.
Yeah.
She is probably the best villain in that series. So I don't know. Everything is just so well done. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it again. I know it's on Netflix now, so I can just binge it as much as I want.
Yep.
But I need to watch it again because I need to relive that. I remember I had actually some of the comics, and it was like book 1, Water, and I was just so excited to just read those.
Before we close out, this is definitely one that, even though it's on Netflix, I recommend buying them. Buying them on Blu-ray, DVD. I plan on eventually owning them because just, I don't buy much. I bought, some of my favorite shows. I bought Entourage. I bought most of the seasons of Archer. Those are shows that I love. Now it's streaming. It's kind of obsolete to do it, but I would still do it because you never know when, things go off of Netflix all the time. When are they? Avatar seems like it might stay there for a long time, but it will eventually get pulled. So this is something I think is worth. And if you've never seen Avatar, if you are even faintly a fantasy fan in any sort of way, if you like Lord of the Rings, if you like Harry Potter, I don't care which one. If you like Twilight, all of this is for you, just because of the pure character development and just the fun nature while also being serious it's tough to replicate. It really is.
It had a very good tempo. I was able to chill it out, able to turn it on. It did everything right.
It was funny. It did everything. Boomy is one of the best characters ever.
Boomy's a great character.
So, all right. So I hope everyone enjoyed our little step out of sports world. We're going to now step back into sports world. We plan on doing that, weekly now, becoming more of a little variety show because we're not just sports fans. We are everything. Every topic. Anyway, you get a jingle, everybody. All right. So,
oh boy.
So on to something. It seems like my topics have been angry topics, and I'm okay with it. So I got a little blurb on my telephone from ESPN, and I had to read it a few times because I was like, "The hell!" So it's NFL had a plan in place because Goodell acknowledged that they have an issue in terms of diversity in their coaching, in their general managers. And one of the plans that they were going to put towards the diversity committee, I believe that's what they were called, is to incentivize hiring minority coaches and GMs by upgrading their third-round picks and also giving compensatory picks in the fourth and fifth round for other certain incentives hit. Dave, when I first saw this, I cringed. For the main reason, not about them wanting to get more diversity. Not about them wanting to, get more minority candidates coaching. I cringed because this to me screams a bunch of rich white dudes that have no idea how the hell to do this. And thinking of it, to me, this is kind of like treating them like cattle. If I would have pride as a man and as a person to not be a hire to get an incentive in a third round. If I want to get hired, I want to get hired because I'm good. I hated this whole thing from out there. I thought it was very just disrespectful to the people that potentially would have been hired because of it. I hated everything about it, Dave. And update, they tabled it today, which I think is the best move because I don't think that should ever see the light of day. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I think they made some other changes to the Rooney Rules. I'm not going to lie, I didn't look too much.
Well, that's different from the Rooney Rule. That was going to be a new one. I'll talk about the Rooney Rule next. Okay, the Rooney Rule is different.
Yeah. But no, that idea, I mean, I wouldn't say cattle, but I would definitely call it was definitely a form of like tokenism.
Yeah.
You're very much using them as a token. It feels more like I don't know, weird. It's weird, man, because it feels like you're just using them in order, like you're incentivizing people, the organization, to use them as a way to get better players. And it's just weird that you're going to be choosing based off their race in order to get better players in your organization. I don't know, man. It just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Just doing that. And like, I understand trying to find ways to add more black coaches and GMs. I do. But you cannot use that. Like, it really is treating them more as an object than as a person.
It's a commodity. It's not a person
it's
there. You're not hiring a coach. You're getting and you know, to be as high as the
weird,
third
man.
round, and
Yeah,
you could potentially move up 16 spots in the third round. The third round, you're still getting real players in the third round.
Yeah.
It's not so that's
listen,
incentive for a team to do it.
Even if it wasn't a third round, if you're moving up draft picks because you picked the right skin color of a coach, it just doesn't feel right. It just that does not feel right to me. I can't entirely explain it because I feel like that would take a long time to go over everything. But I just cannot see how that works out in anyone's mind.
Yeah, I didn't like it in terms of, I just thought it just dehumanized the candidates completely because it was less on their merit and what they've done and more on what they could potentially bring to the organization. I didn't like it at all. And not even bring in terms of their talent, but in terms of a draft pick.
Yeah.
So I hated that. I'm really throwing this out. If you are a minority, you know, me and David, I guess we're fringe minorities. We're Ecuadorians. We're Spanish. But, you know, looking at us, I don't know if anyone will consider us minorities. If you are, you know, a black person or, you know, a person that is clearly a minority and you have an opinion about this and me and David are dead wrong, please let us know why. Let us know that we are dead wrong on this and that this incentivized plan would have been a good idea. I forget who I saw tweet it out. I think it might have been like Des Bryant or somebody and was like, please tell me I didn't just read that. Like, similar reaction to what we had. So I don't know if it was Des. It was somebody that is he's a wide receiver, prevalent guy in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, but you mentioned the Rooney Rule. This is something that I'm okay with. For those that don't know, the Rooney Rule is a rule that was passed down in 2008 after one of the owners of the Steelers, Rooney, passed away. What it is that NFL teams had to at least interview an outside minority candidate for a coaching position, only one. So what they did, and this didn't need to go to a vote. It was just something that, you know, the owners, they all agreed upon verbally. They're good with it. So the changes are now teams that have a head coaching vacancy must interview at least 2 outside minority candidates for the head coaching job. And they also, for any coordinator openings, they would have to interview 1 minority candidate for the coordinator position. I'm okay with this. I like the Rooney Rule. I feel like the Rooney Rule has done good in the sense that whether or not that minority candidate got picked for the job in the hiring, the fact that they were getting chosen to get an interview definitely put their name out there more. So they were, you know, put in the spotlight for other openings. Mm-hmm. One thing that drives me crazy though right now, and, you know, we look at it, the league is, you know, predominantly a minority league. There, you know, it's a lot of black players. Mm-hmm. There is a good amount of black assistants now. And there have been a lot of black head coaches, you know, not a lot, but there's a sufficient amount of successful black coaches and Spanish coaches. Mm-hmm. I think it drives me nuts that they're not getting hired. That's what drives me crazy. You're telling me out of the pool of minorities there that they can't compete without this rule. I think it kind of sucks that we still need this rule in this day and age. And I understood what they were going for in trying to get more black GMs, because they would feel that they would give an opportunity to more minority candidates to get hired underneath them in that sense. But to me, it's just, you can't tell me in this day and age that there aren't more minority candidates that without this rule should be getting looks. I feel like I'm okay with this rule because it does get more of their names out there, but I just think it's nuts that it's even necessary anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm okay with this rule for the most part as well, especially if they feel like it's needed. Mm-hmm. But one thing is, like, you know, you see some coordinators that definitely had a good shot at becoming like the Jets head coach and other head coaches. Eric Bieniemy.
Yep.
I thought he was definitely going to become a head coach. I cannot remember the Cowboys defensive coordinator's name.
Oh, neither can I.
I think it's Chris something. I can't remember. But I don't know. It's weird because there is a lot that factors into getting head coaches in the first place. Absolutely. Because especially if Andy Reid said to Eric, like, because this was before they won the Super Bowl, if he said to him, he's like, listen, I know you can move on. You can go be a head coach. You got the interviews, but like we have a great team here, and if we're changing up is not going to like we could win a Super Bowl here. It definitely it's more. It's going to become a choice for Bieniemy to either stay or go be a head coach and try to pave his own, have his own path to a Super Bowl as a head coach. And it's the same thing with the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Because I mean, we all make fun of the Cowboys for going 8-8 and just underperforming, but there's still a damn good roster. There's still a damn good roster. So it's yes, if they feel like the rules need it, if they feel like they need to interview 2 minority head coaches outside and 1 assistant minority coach, that's fine. I'm fine with that, especially if it helps them along the process, if it is a need. But I feel like we need to also understand that there's a lot more that goes into this than just that.
You know, and I think, and I saw in an article they were talking about with the incentives that one of the positions in the coaching staff that they want to see more of an overhaul is the quarterback coach, because the quarterback coaches have a very easier route to the head coaching position ever since, Montana Marino ended and the quarterback literally became the focal point of every single football team. Yeah. Now, I think what goes well is the different style of play now. We're seeing a lot less white quarterbacks because, the stand and deliver quarterback was predominantly white for the longest time. The statue quarterback was usually your white quarterback. It was very rare. You have your Steve McNairs, you have certain guys, David Garrard, that were more the typical prototype quarterback. It tends to be a lot more of your mobile quarterbacks are your minorities, or your dual threat quarterbacks that have great arms are your minority quarterbacks. And the fact that that has become, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick were kind of the outliers a little bit during their time, but it's now become kind of the mold. Your Russell Wilsons, Colin Kaepernicks, Lamar, Patty Mahomes, these guys, and even, in that same mold, Deshaun, but even in that same mold, your Aaron Rodgers is very much in that same mold. You had certain guys that is the new quarterback. And with that being the new quarterback, I feel like that definitely gives more of a chance now that there is more minorities playing the position that, even if it comes for the sake of diversity, and now that you want, because relationships are massive with players and coaches now. So even if you want a better relationship where maybe they might think that a minority candidate might work better with their quarterback room because maybe their quarterback room is now more minority based, like whatever it is could possibly get more quarterbacks coaches in because that is a very big position. And I saw that and it was an interesting tidbit. And I just think with the change in the position and the fact that we're finally seeing more black quarterbacks, and it's a great, and even when the Jets had Mark Sanchez, he was a minority quarterback, and Mark Sanchez was definitely similar in a sense where he was very athletic. He could roll out.
Yeah, he could roll a little bit.
Fast.
His play action was his best weapon.
Yes, play action was his best. But, when he had to run, it wasn't like he was Tom Brady running out there. He had wheels. Yeah, he just chose not to use them, and whenever he got hit, he pouted. But But overall, I feel like that evolution is definitely going to help the position. And I also think this Rooney Rule, they should have extended it to quarterbacks coaches, not just coordinators. I feel like QB coaches would have also been a good spot to go. But I guess this is the next step, and then we'll see from there.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how everything works out. I mean, you can never call it because what happens if the pool is just not there of very many experienced minority head coaches after a little bit? What happens? What happens?
I guess you pull from the collegiate level. There's always,
it's always there, but I don't know. At one point, I just got to wonder. At one point, it's going to work itself out that we don't need the Rooney Rule. I don't know. It's really weird because it's going to, especially with expanding the Rooney Rule, and it's definitely going to work. It should definitely work itself out.
I think it's also similar though, because you do see that there are certain, white candidates that they might not be ready, but they take interviews. And they're, that they are future head coaches and they're allowed to take interviews. And a young Josh McDaniels, perfect example. He was taking interviews well before the whole debacle that he went through. And
I don't like Josh McDaniels.
But he took a lot of interviews that he knew he wasn't going to get the job for, but it was just to get the experience of interviewing for a head coach.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the minority candidates weren't getting that opportunity. And the Rooney Rule is going to allow them to do a similar thing where even if they don't get the job, even if they're not in what you're saying, even maybe the pool is slim because maybe there is a good amount of the minority coaches and there's a lot of really good ones and it's not, the pool is slimmer. It might be okay. That next guy that's a special teams coordinator or just a wide receivers coach right now, he's definitely head coaching material, but he's not going to get it now. But just to go for the interview is great experience for the future. That could definitely be helpful and get his name out there.
Yeah.
So, and maybe her name eventually. Maybe her name. I feel like the Rooney Rule is eventually going to extend to women.
Yeah, it'll happen soon.
Yeah, definitely. Because, women know football too. Hate to break it to men. There's plenty of female fans that I know that know just as much football as any of us do. So, all right. So that's fun.
All right. So we're going to move on from that topic. More sports are returning, just like how the NFL is going to try to run on schedule. More sports are returning in order to get their spurts. In order to get their leagues running and their leagues finishing their seasons. So New York, California, and Texas are ready to bring sports back.
Yep.
I already knew Texas was going to a while ago, but Cali and New York are kind of surprising, not going to lie. Obviously with no fans.
Yep.
Cuomo said New York teams can start up as soon as possible.
T for time out with that. That doesn't mean the Jets and the Giants. The Jets and the Giants are they can practice. If they practice in New York, they can start up. They can be in their facility. I don't know if the Jets facility is in New York or not. So in football, this really only belongs to the Bills.
Yeah.
So just anyone there that's a New York Jets or Giants fan, they're not ready yet because Governor Murphy in New Jersey has not said anything similar. Go ahead, Dave.
Yes.
Sorry.
Texas teams can start up at the end of May. California teams can start up on June 1st.
Yep.
And we also have that NASCAR can start in Pennsylvania in late June without fans. Now, NASCAR already ran Sunday.
Yep.
But I think what we're seeing is Florida is getting a lot of revenue from this, from just opening up and allowing sports to happen. They saw Arizona opened up for sports, so they know Arizona is going to get a lot of revenue. And you're seeing these states saying, okay, if they can follow these precautions and nothing seems to be going entirely wrong for these races and these fights and these sports that are opening up, then we can do the same and get some revenue into the state that's not getting a lot of revenue.
Yeah. And honestly, if those three states, New York, Texas, and California could do it, and Florida as well, that is doing no excuse anymore. No excuse anymore for any other state, especially New York being the hardest hit state, California and New Jersey right there, second, third. But if 2 out of the 3 hardest hit states in the nation with COVID-19 are reopening, and the 4 most populous states in California, Florida, Texas, and New York bringing sports back, no excuse for anybody else. Start bringing it back. Start doing a similar way, no fans, whatever you got to do. But it's no secret. It's a big shot to the economy when sports are happening. And also NFL teams are doing training camp now. Training camp has started with a lot of NFL teams. Mini practices have started with a lot of NFL teams. And interestingly, I heard Merrill Hodge, former Pittsburgh Steeler, talking today.
Yes.
And he said training camp is the safest place for NFL football teams right now, because for those 6 to 8 weeks, you quite literally are doing nothing. You don't go anywhere. You stay with the team. You get tested initially. You get tested whenever you need to get tested, whatever it is. But you have people there cooking for you every day. You have your training staff there, your doctors. You don't leave.
You don't get arrested.
You don't shoot. You're not holding anybody up at gunpoint at a party. Oh my God. We're not talking about them. I didn't want to.
No, we're not. Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's just stupid stuff, because starting receivers and cornerbacks in the NFL should not be holding people up for any reason.
But
they don't get press from me. No press. No press.
But obviously, I want to talk on your point that obviously it's a big boost for the economy of sports open. But people need sports to open back up, just so we're not going absolutely insane. Because as we know, more things are opening up in states, but people still need their sports. This is something that's been with us every year, all year. Like, sport is happening almost all of the year.
Yep.
Something is going on that we can tune into, that we can watch, that we can take our mind off the rest of the day for a little bit and just cheer on our team or get pissed at them. No matter what, we're feeling some different type of emotion to something else that has nothing to do with our lives.
Yeah.
So we need that as people.
You need the release.
Exactly. So it helps the economy, no doubt. But just keeping people sane it helps.
You can only binge Ozark so many times.
Exactly.
I haven't yet.
I haven't watched a single episode.
But I heard, everyone binges Ozark. So I guess my time will come at some point.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Overall, this is good. We need to continue to see this happening as long as it's getting done safely.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's bring it back. And I'm sorry, let's start bringing back the fans. Bring them back. Stop with these no fans. These stadiums are massive. They're massive. You can start putting, you know what? Figure out if you're going to buy a single ticket, you can only buy a single ticket, and group tickets, and space them accordingly. You have really smart people there. You can do this, people. If you need to have a 30% filled stadium, it is still better for these players to hear themselves being cheered when they make a play.
Yeah.
Even if it's 10,000 people as opposed to 65,000, it's still a lot better than zero.
Which, I'm pretty certain that we'll see the NFL doing some things like that.
They need to.
Because, I mean, most of the other sports are caught off guard with this. They're caught in the middle of their seasons or near the end of their seasons, so they really don't have a lot of time to prepare and think about what the heck they can do with this. But the NFL had so much time, and it seems like they're doing almost everything right for this, at least preparation-wise. So I can see them also doing that. Also finding a way to organize it so that we can have a little bit of fans to cheer on their team and at least show some enthusiasm in the arena. All right. And
I also just want to say, EPL, I think it was said like 15 players tested positive in the EPL for coronavirus. They were doing small practices. And it was, blasted out there. Honestly, people, coronavirus is extremely serious. We've said that many a times. COVID-19 is deadly. People are still going to get it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Most of
it. We might get a vaccine. We might get a cure. We might not get a vaccine. We might not get a cure. There's nothing guaranteed. Even with the vaccine and the cure, it's probably still going to be something that people get.
Yeah.
Just because people get it doesn't mean we shut it all down again. There doesn't need to be a knee-jerk reaction, especially when it's to the most fit and athletic people on the planet.
Yeah.
If anybody has a chance of beating this, it is these individuals. Not saying that it's still, not saying for them to sit there and if someone has COVID to just run around and just start rubbing up against everybody they meet. No, that's stupid. Go quarantine yourself 14 days, get the treatment you need, obviously. But if NFL comes back and training camp happens and it finds out that Patty Mahomes, for whatever reason, gets COVID-19 and he was in a small session with a few receivers, they have it. And they need to shut down their quarterbacks and receivers for 14 days. That doesn't mean the NFL needs to stop. That doesn't mean the Kansas City Chiefs need to close up shop.
Yep.
That just means that, some people got sick. We're going to one day turn around and people are just going to be sick again. Like, it's going to magically happen where it's just going to be like, oh, man, what did he have? He got COVID. He'll be back in a few weeks.
Sam Darnold can get it and be just like last year when he had mono. He'll be out for a couple weeks. And it won't even change anything for us.
Out for as long as he was with mono with COVID, and that means he's on a vent, and we need to really pray for that man. Sam better not. If Sam gets an illness again, cut him. We need to fund me to pay his millions as fans. I will give to that. If he gets anything like mono again, where he has to be out with the illness like that
they're kissing girls
out there kissing hookers, cut him.
I know. He's just kissing. He's just kissing. You're not even kissing hookers. He's just kissing, man.
I guarantee. I'm telling them. I'm calling them hookers. They're hookers.
Why? Hey, listen, I'm pretty sure he'd get a lot worse.
He's a wild boy. Anyway, continuing with kind of the COVID-19 stuff. NFL is testing new face masks to go over their helmets. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they are testing it. They're teaming up with Oakley brand, which I'm pretty sure is the one that makes all their visors anyway, so it makes sense that they would be doing anything with the face mask modification there to make either surgical material over the face masks or N95 material where it would completely cover their faces and I guess down to their necks because it has to create a seal. in order for these face masks to be like, I have a mini beard. The face mask is useless on me. If you don't have a seal to be created for those, it's not, especially the N95s, it doesn't do anything. But they are working with them. They didn't have any details of how it looks. They didn't have any details, but they are working on a way. Dave, what do you think about this idea?
I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if it's needed. I mean, you're already kind of touching each other on the football field in the first place, so it's kind of weird. Like, even with the face mask on, you're gonna take it off and you're probably gonna touch your face. I don't know. I mean, I guess, I mean, it could probably make it look really cool, so that would be a benefit. But I mean, it doesn't seem to make the most sense.
It makes zero sense. Zero. None. One reason, N95 material and surgical material is not tough. It's not tough. And number two, I don't know if anyone's ever used an N95. I use them for work and construction. David, have you ever used an N95 really?
I think so. Probably once or twice.
When you sweat in the N95, if it has a respirator attachment and it starts to get wet in there, it becomes useless. It doesn't do anything anymore. And it's uncomfortable and it sucks. And that material rips pretty damn easily. It's not tough stuff. So right away, you're going to make a violent game with hard plastic and metal and then soft crap. No, that won't work. Number two, no one keeps their helmets on all game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The first thing that players do when they go to the sideline is take their helmet off because their heads are hot. If anyone's ever played football and everyone's ever worn a helmet, they suck.
Yeah, it starts getting uncomfortable.
Suck. So they take it. You can't expect these guys to wear the helmets for 3 hours.
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that. No one's going to. And what are they going to do? The moment, everyone just have like, are they going to make them stand 6 feet apart on the sideline to go into a bubble to change into their masks and then go back? Like, it's not going to work. If you're going to bring this back, don't do any of that crap. Bring it back as football. And if you as a player are that concerned, don't come back. This is unprecedented. If you sat there and you were someone that has a real issue that you are susceptible to this, I guarantee the NFLPA will have your back when you go to that franchise. I'm not coming back. I ain't playing. I can die from this. I'm not doing it. And I'm pretty sure the NFLPA, and I don't think the owners would give too much grief if you have a legitimate issue that they obviously will know about. So for me, this is a nice way for Oakley to get their name back out. Besides that, it makes no sense. Stupid. Don't even bring it out, because the last thing I'm gonna want is for people sitting there on Facebook and everything going, yeah, it's a great idea. And I don't want to hear players having to go against each other and saying, yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'd wear it. No, I wouldn't. And then who gets demonized? Who doesn't? Yeah. It's a terrible idea. It's not going to work. It's not realistic. It's not feasible. If you're going to do this, get out of your bubble, play football. That's it.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like the more you think about it in the ways it would just travel if someone did have COVID, like it just wouldn't be effective in the long run at all.
That would be like telling me, like in track or an elite track athlete, to run a race with a mask on.
Oh, hell no.
You might as well do the event indoor because you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like any of these that come back, any sports that come back, no masks. The athletes, no masks. The coaches want to wear them. If the personnel wants to wear it around, their prerogative. The athletes, none. You need to breathe to do sports. Your muscles don't react unless you're breathing in air.
It's a fair point. It is a fair point. But now we're going to move on to a sport that did have some masks on some people, but not on their athletes themselves. The UFC had 2 more fights within like a week and 8 days of the other fight. Wednesday was fight night with the headlining of Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. And then Saturday with the headline of Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. Now, I was not able to watch Wednesdays because it got late and I have to wake up early. But you did, Alex.
I did, and thank you for, allowing me to use your ESPN Plus to watch it. ESPN, don't take it away from us. to watch
Hopefully
it. And when I tell you, I didn't see the bottom fights. I
You didn't
didn't
see the
see
prelims.
Chase Sherman against Villanueva. I didn't see Keller versus Zure.
Mm-hmm.
When did I come into? I came in during right after Sajara Eubanks versus Sarah Morris. So I can't talk on those fights.
Okay.
I
Well, you don't need to talk on every prelim fight. Not many people care.
Yeah, no. So we'll talk about some of the ones that I thought were good. Um, Andrea Arlovsky, sorry, a veteran in the game,
Yeah,
fought against Felipe Lins. You were awake for that fight.
I did see most of that fight. Yes,
This was Felipe Lins's introduction into UFC
against Orlovsky. That's an
against
awful
Arlovsky,
time.
who is
That's an
a
awful
veteran, a former champion, a guy
Yeah.
that has fought headliners.
Andre's genuinely good.
You know, he handedly beat Lins in the fight, but I have to say, Felipe Lins, if he can get coached up, his hands are absolutely lethal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen as fast a hands on anybody in the UFC. I've seen a lot of fast hands. He's up there with some of the fastest hands in all of UFC. He hurt Arlovsky a few times. He struck him, and he had some counters that, you know, if Arlovsky wasn't a tough guy, Lins might have knocked him out. There were some of them while I'm watching going, oof. And I think I was commenting the whole time, like, this dude's hands are insane.
Yeah.
Definitely has a really good boxing background. I thought it was a solid fight. Dave, you watched that fight. How did you feel about that fight?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it wasn't bad. I thought it wasn't bad at all. I think Felipe really showed that he at least deserves to be in the octagon.
Definitely.
He can at least fight. But I mean, it's Andrei Arlovsky. Unless he got caught, he was going to win the fight.
Yeah, it was a tough fight to start. So we're going to jump in. These next two fights were actually my favorite two fights of the night. Ricky Simon beat Ray Borg, but man, those two, Dave, they beat the hell out of each other.
I missed that one. I like Ray Borg.
The fact to me, just overall, it was a great combination of striking plus wrestling. They did so good in both ends. Borg was on the defensive the whole time. He needed to throw. Simon had his number. He understood how to fight him. He was bouncy. He avoided Borg's hits because Borg can stand and deliver. He's flat-footed, but he can deliver.
Yeah.
Simon had length, and he was a better wrestler, and that's what ended up winning it. But man, it was an exciting fight because you knew if Borg hit that one good hit, it would have been done. But the best part about that fight, Dave, the respect between the two of them, they were having friendly trash talk, which I don't know if it goes on often.
That's incredible.
But you can hear it because there were no fans. And to the point where they're squaring up. And at one point, Borg goes to Simon, all right, kid. And Simon returns and goes, man, I'm older than you. And like that, because he is a year older than him. What else? They're sitting there at one point, both squaring up, both ready to throw. And you hear one of them go, you gonna do something? And he's like, you do something, bitch. And then all of a sudden, Borg starts throwing hands as fast as lightning. But it was just cool. And then, towards the end, there's still, as I think Simon was on top of Borg. Simon was like, man, don't make me do it. And Borg's like, I'm good. Like, it was just fun to see. And then in the end, the moment the fight ended, you saw the mutual respect between both guys.
Yeah.
They had huge smiles, gave big hugs.
Yeah.
Like, they both thoroughly enjoyed the fight.
Oh, yeah.
They're sick people. But that was a great fight. And then the next fight, Drew Dober has arrived.
Yeah,
Drew Dober has arrived. He fought against Alexander Hernandez, who was 15th ranked at the time. Dober was on the outside looking in, and Hernandez is a good fighter. Very good fighter. Dober beat the hell out of him. Hernandez had some shots. Hernandez, gave life, but it was never in doubt that even if it went the length, Dober was going to win it unless Hernandez did something drastic.
Yeah.
And Dober trains with Gaethje, the new champion. Gaethje, yeah. So
Justin Gaethje, yeah.
Yeah, so he was giving him a shout out on all that team, and you could definitely see it. They just beat the hell out of each other, and they're in the same exact weight class. Dober's someone to watch out for. He's someone to watch out for. He's a hell of a fighter. Now the co-main event, Ben Rothwell against Ovin St. Preux. St. Preux was stepping up to the heavyweight for the first time, and it showed. Rothwell's a veteran, 40 years old. Could take a hit. That man could take a hit, but he's such a weird style. If anyone's ever watched Rothwell fight, hands up, he kind of pokes you like a bear, and then he punches the hell out of you, and he gets you in the clutch, and he knees you, and he doesn't look like a dude that's a fighter, but man, he's quicker than he looks. St. Preux had a good introduction into heavyweight, puts on some weight. He could definitely be a guy that can watch out for, but Rothwell took him apart. And the last fight, I blame this on Anthony Smith's corner. Glover Teixeira is a hell of a fighter.
He's a great fighter.
He ended up 5th round TKO. Anthony Smith should have been fighting into the 5th round. He got his ass kicked. At one point, he goes to his corner. I think my tooth is gone. Clearly telling his corner to stop the fight, and they didn't. He was never going to stop it himself. But, Dave, if you watched it, his corner didn't shut up. They didn't shut up for the first 2 rounds. You do 150 strikes.
Woo! You got to put someone out if you're throwing that much.
150 in 2 rounds.
You got to put someone out.
Man, and he was exhausted midway through the second. And that was clearly because he was trying to listen to everything his corner was saying, all of his coaches. And he listened. And he looked great early. But it was too much, too soon. If he slowed down and this went the length, there was no doubt in my mind that Anthony Smith would have won the fight. Glover outlasted him and beat him because the man couldn't walk. He was exhausted. It's a shame. Anthony Smith's corner cost him a fight. And, Glover, great veteran, deserves all the credit in the world, but definitely something that Anthony Smith will be back. Yeah. And he just needs a better corner next time.
Well, I mean, they probably thought that he could put Glover out before it went to distance.
That with Glover's history, then you are out of your damn mind.
I understand that, but they probably thought if they went full on, maybe they could take him out before it went to distance and let Glover have any chance. But yeah, no, I feel for Lionheart.
You've been watching Glover fight for almost 2 decades. The guy came into UFC at 18. If you don't know how tough he is,
no, I know.
That's shame on you.
I understand that. I understand that. But hey. Yeah, but Anthony Smith will be back. He'll fight again, no doubt.
He is a future. He's been a main eventer. He's definitely a future champion. 100%. So
but we'll definitely see him again. Yeah. I'm happy for Glover. It's good for him to see him win a main event. 4 wins in a row for Glover. There you go. We'll see him more. Yep. So Saturday was another fight night. Headline was Overeem versus Harris. We're gonna get to that fight. I'm just going to go over some of the fights I really liked. Yep. Now, if you thought Simon and Borg was a crazy damn fight, Darren Elkins versus Nate Landwehr was insane. You might have seen the pictures, Alex. Elkins had blood all over him. Yep. All over him. Big ass cuts. Landwehr, they really just beat the hell out of each other, and they loved it. They in the middle of the fight, they would scream out. Like Landwehr's called out to Dana himself. He really felt himself. Like by the second round, he felt where he was. He understood that he was winning this fight. That he could really beat Elkins up. But Elkins, I know. But Elkins, hey, he fought very well. He showed us. We know he's tough. He's had comebacks before, so you couldn't count him out. It's a really fun fight to watch. They loved that fight. You could see how much they both loved that fight. So that one was a lot of fun to watch. It's always fun to watch Giga Chikadze. He was a fight afterwards against Rivera. I cannot remember his first name. I'm sorry. Erwin Rivera. Thank you. Yeah, but Chikadze is always fun to watch. Rivera. I think Rivera was a late ad. Chikadze was supposed to fight someone else. I don't exactly remember who, but Rivera was tough, man. Chikadze hit him with a lot of good kicks. If you know how good of a kickboxer Giga is he does not kick soft, and he kicks in weird ways. The question mark kick is strong. He has a lot of different, a lot of different kicks. Yeah. Exactly. A lot of different kicks. Giga ended up winning, but hats off to Rivera for standing, for being able to stand those kicks. We had Matt Brown versus Miguel Baeza. Baeza was 8-0. He's a newcomer against Matt Brown, a veteran who's coming back. Baeza, okay. So Matt Brown at first looked like he was going to put Baeza out in the first round. Baeza able to get back up. I might have lost consciousness for a second. Baeza puts Brown down for a little bit in the first round. Brown able to get up. Second round, Baeza put it out. Ended up with a knockout. Great fight. Now 9-0, put out a veteran, putting his name out there.
Yeah.
So we might see more Baeza in a welterweight. Next, we had Song Yadong versus Marlon Vera.
Ecuador.
Marlon Vera is an Ecuadorian, Marlon Chito Vera. So
go.
I was really hoping that he would win. I thought it was a very good fight. I did think that Vera was robbed a little bit. I thought he had a bit of a better showing than Song, but they still both performed very well.
The judges, I think, thought it was unanimous 29-28 down the road, but it's 29-28. That just says that both fighters fought their asses off.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a great fight. Great fight to watch. Next, we have Dan Ige versus Edson Barbosa. I really like Dan Ige, and I like Edson Barbosa as well, but I don't know. I just really liked Dan Ige for a while. Ige ended up winning that fight. That one is also a very good one to watch.
They're two likable guys. Though, Dan Ige and Edson Barbosa are just likable dudes that I think have, mutual respect from fans. I don't think, there's some animosity between fans. I don't think any of these fan bases kind of hated the other one.
Yeah. No,
they're both
there's no reason to really
good guys.
Exactly.
So.
Then the co-main event was Claudia Gadelha versus Angela Hill. Angela Hill is not ranked. I don't know how. If you've seen her fight, she's a very good fighter, but she was not ranked. This is her chance to beat a ranked opponent and move into the ranks. I think even with the outcome, maybe she still moves in. I don't know because it did go to this decision. I think so. Yeah.
She won one. One judge gave her 29-28. It was
exactly.
20.
It was a split decision.
Yep.
So but Claudia Gadelha is just very good. she took her to the ground, and that was when she got control. Angela Hill was not able to wrestle on the ground with Gadelha. She's just not as good as her, but her stand-up game was good. She caught Claudia with a couple of damn good shots. So I'm looking to see for more from both of them, especially from Angela Hill. I like her as a fighter. And then finally, we had Alistair Overeem, one of the longest tenured vets in the UFC, a Hall of Famer, 100%.
Yes. Without a doubt.
Yeah, versus Walt Harris, who was on a great winning streak. He had a lot of things to deal with in the past year. Daughter ended up passing away in December. It was a very emotional return. Very emotional return to the octagon. I was very much hoping Walt Harris would win. In fact, in round one, it did look like he was going to win. It looked like he put Alistair out. Alistair was able to rise back up. He got a lot of control on the ground in round one and kept it for around 2 minutes, 40 seconds, I think. So that tired Walt Harris out. It's tiring with a big man like Alistair who can wrestle, who keeps you on the ground, and you're trying to get out. You're just wasting stamina.
And he knows how to do positioning where he's not just on top of you. He's on top of you in the focal points that are going to exhaust you because your muscles are now screaming to get him off of you.
Yep. So, and then it came into the second round. It was more stand-up game. Alistair caught him with a roundhouse and then a left. And Walt Harris went down. Alistair got on his back and got full mount on the back. There was no chance for Walt Harris. It just ended up he ended up losing that by TKO. I thought it was a pretty good fight. Alistair showed. I mean, he's still Alistair Overeem. You can do whatever he can in the ring. Maybe you think he lost his chin a little bit. I mean, I could probably agree to that, but he's still insanely good in the ring. Walt Harris, he's going to get many more shots.
Without
his power, his ferocity, his ability in the octagon, he'll get many more shots. I wish it could have ended in a win, but I'm just happy to see him fighting again.
Yeah, and a beautiful moment that was caught towards the end. One of the things that these mics, no fans can catch these moments where in the past we would hear in an interview that this happened, but we got to see this. I didn't watch it, but I did see this clip live where the moment the fight was called, they weren't even, pulled off of each other. Alistair was pulled off and he went right back to Walt. Walt's on all fours and he's hugging him going, I love you, man. Great fight. Let's train together. Let's train together soon. You're going to be great. Let's train together, my man. Walt didn't say much. Walt was kind of stunned. I thought he was better prepared and was going to win this fight.
Yeah.
All the personal things kind of where you could see the emotion in his face. A lot happened. The winning streak, his family stuff, a lot went wrong that night for him. But it was a beautiful moment. And I could definitely see Walt taking Alistair up there because when you have a guy like Overeem willing to train you, to work with you, you go and you eat up what the veterans are willing to give you. So it was a beautiful moment. Kids, that's what it's like to be gracious in victory right there. That's what makes great athletes. The athletes that can be gracious. And in a sport like fighting, where it is so easy to be cocky and to rub it in the other fighter's face because you just literally beat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
It's that is what you want to be a great athlete. That's the
Mm-hmm.
first place to start right there, kids.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's really weird. You would think in a place like you said where they're beating the hell out of each other, it seems like almost the most respect is shown in UFC, especially between fighters. And maybe it is because they're beating the hell out of each other. They're both in it for the same reason, or same reasons, and they both feel the pain. They both get hit. They're both hitting each other. They're both working to beat each other. So there's a mutual respect that usually goes down, even with all the smack talked beforehand. There's not as most of the time there is not as much of a beef as there like to be shown. Now there definitely are. There definitely are.
Sometimes there is.
But most of the time there's a lot of respect between these fighters.
You have to have that sort of a mindset going in. If you don't have the mindset that you're going to kick his ass, then you're going to lose. That's right away. That's a mindset. But number two, one of the things that I've always said is when it's the individual sports, where it's the sport that it's on you completely, the person that finishes first and last, if they're both given 100%, they feel the same exact thing. That was always my thing with track. I'm not comparing track to UFC. UFC, they actually get punched in the face. You don't get punched in the face in track unless something goes terribly wrong. But in track, the winner and the guy in last place in the race feel the same thing. It's the same pain. It's the same exact thing. Obviously, some people have a higher pain threshold, but overall, it's very similar. So you're going through the same thing. So I feel like the respect for the individual sports, your wrestling, your swimming, your track, your UFC, anything that's individual is much more mutual there because number one, there's no other outside influence. There's no teams that can change things.
Yeah.
And number two, the pain is very similar on all the training and everything you go through is very similar on all grounds. So I feel like that's why the respect is there more. So
I know, but there's a great 3 events for UFC over the week. I loved it. I very much enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for more UFC, and I cannot wait for Fight Island. Dana, get it done. Please get it done.
Do we have any announcements? Any more fight nights or 250 or anything? Is there anything set up that I didn't see anything yet?
I didn't see anything yet either. I am following a bunch of UFC pages, but I haven't seen anything. Maybe I just missed it, but I usually get it when it's closer. So, yeah, no, I don't know exactly what's in store for the future for UFC, but I know damn well they're going to fight some more.
Hell yeah. And I have to say, these fight nights have been as entertaining, if not more entertaining than any pay-per-view I've ever seen them do. And it is quite literally Dana doing these fight nights on common channels and making them free has been the best thing because he had to compete with Bellator and Bellator was doing a bunch of free stuff. This is the best way. And if he continues to do this and the fact that they're the only thing out there, UFC is going to monopolize it all. And it's fine. If they can continue to bring fighters like this out there on fight nights, keep it up.
Exactly.
Keep it up. All right, Dave, anything else to add before we close out here? You can't do your UFC. We talked about your UFC.
Exactly. I have nothing else to add, really. And nothing that comes off the top of my head. All
right. So, everybody, I have nothing else to add. No Yapti tonight. He's in the other room. I forgot to grab him. Very sorry for everybody. He's healed. His jaw's he's wired shut permanently. But yeah, overall, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of Cuesta Dos. We're, a little bit different than normal. We definitely covered our sports in the end, but we're not only going to stick to sports anymore. If you guys don't like it, deal with it. But again, I'm Alex Cuesta. He's David Cuesta. Find him on Twitter at dcuesta308, Instagram Cuesta Cola. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30. Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. Instagram Sports Opinions 30. Search for Cuesta Dos specifically anywhere you can find a podcast, and you will see our logo with Yapti yelling at another Yapti showing up there.
Yes,
and anywhere you can find you can hear these episodes. If you want to hear all of Sports Opinions, search Sports Opinions Podcast. This show is on there, as well as all other 5 shows in the network. So I hope everyone enjoyed the show. We'll hopefully talk to you next week, everyone. Have a good one.
We probably will. At one point.
Have a good one, everybody.